Brief welcome paragraph in USA English for USA quarter-dollar coins from the year 1989 with good condition, 1971 with fine condition, 1983 with better condition, 1973 with circulatory condition, 1984 dull condition. Started with Coinvera USA and top 5 rare coins. Let's start today. We are taking a closer look at a very interesting and still highly collected US quarter-dollar coin from the year 1984, even in a dull or heavily circulated condition. Many people think only shiny coins matter, but in the world of coin collecting, even worn coins can carry strong value, strong history, and strong demand, and the 1984 quarter is a great example of how everyday pocket change can still become an exciting collectible with growing interest in today's market. The 1984 quarter was produced during a time when the United States was experiencing major economic changes, technological growth, and strong national identity during the late Cold War era. Millions of these coins were released into circulation, and they were used in daily life for shopping, transportation, and vending machines, which is why many of them today appear dull, smooth, and heavily handled. However, collectors love coins that truly show history through circulation because they represent real American daily life from that time, and that adds to their cultural appeal and storytelling value. On the front side of the coin, also called the head side, we see the strong and classic image of George Washington facing left, which has been the standard design for U.S. quarters for many decades. Even when the coin is dull, you can still recognize the bold profile, the tied hair ribbon, and the firm expression that represents leadership and stability. Around the portrait, the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" reflect American values and national identity, while the date 1984 confirms its place in history and helps collectors connect it to events of that era. On the back side, or the tail side, the coin displays the famous bald eagle with wings spread wide, holding arrows and an olive branch, which symbolizes both strength and peace. This powerful image reflects America's readiness to defend itself while still desiring harmony, and even when the details are faded from years of use, the design still carries strong meaning and visual impact. For many collectors, the worn appearance actually adds character, making each coin feel unique and connected to real-world movement across cities, hands, and generations. Culturally and historically, this quarter represents a period when cash was still the main form of payment and coins traveled widely across the country. These coins passed through gas stations, grocery stores, school cafeterias, and parking meters, making them silent witnesses to everyday American life in the 1980s. For collectors and history lovers, owning a circulated 1984 quarter is like holding a small piece of social history that reflects both economic activity and national culture of that decade. In terms of physical features, the 1984 U.S. quarter weighs approximately 5.67 grams and is made of a copper core with a nickel outer layer, giving it both durability and the familiar silver-like appearance that people recognize. The diameter is about 24.26 millimeters, and even in dull condition, the weight and size remain consistent, which helps collectors easily identify authentic examples and compare them with other years. Some key facts that collectors find attractive include the high circulation numbers combined with strong collector interest in certain mint variations and condition-based demand. Many collectors today search through rolls and old collections looking for specific strikes, cleaner examples, and unusual wear patterns that can increase collector value. Even standard circulated examples continue to be bought and sold because people enjoy completing year sets, and the 1984 quarter is an important part of many collections. When we talk about rarity and condition, it is true that a dull and circulated coin is not the rarest form, but demand does not always depend only on rarity. Demand also comes from how popular a coin is with beginners and long-term collectors, and the 1984 quarter remains a favorite because it is affordable, recognizable, and easy to collect in large numbers. Some collectors prefer circulated coins because they are less likely to be altered or artificially polished, making them more trusted and more natural in appearance. Now here comes the exciting part that many viewers are waiting for, the current market value. Even in dull circulated condition, some sellers and collectors list these coins at surprisingly high prices when they are promoted as collectible items, gift pieces, or part of vintage coin sets. In today's collector marketplace, you may see asking prices reaching into the hundreds of pounds, with promotional values such as £250 written as £250, £300 written as £300, and sometimes even £400 written as £400 for selected pieces that are marketed as vintage American collectibles. While everyday circulated value is normally much lower, the collector display market often pushes prices much higher, especially when coins are presented with stories, packaging, or limited-themed collections. For collectors who are interested in building a valuable and enjoyable collection, it is always smart to keep coins in protective holders, avoid cleaning them, and store them in dry environments to prevent further damage. It is also helpful to compare multiple examples of the same year so you can learn how wear patterns affect appearance and demand. Building relationships with other collectors and learning from experienced hobbyists can also help you recognize when a coin is gaining popularity in the market. To wrap things up, the 1984 US $quarter coin, even in dull condition, continues to attract attention, interest, and strong collector demand because of its historical presence, cultural symbolism, and affordability for new collectors. It represents real American history in your hand, and with growing interest in vintage currency, these coins are being rediscovered by people around the world. Whether you collect for passion, history, or future value, this quarter proves that even ordinary coins can become extraordinary when viewed through the eyes of collectors. So the next time you see a 1984 quarter, don't ignore it, because it might just be a small treasure from America's past waiting to be appreciated. Number 2. The 1973 United States $quarter in circulating condition. Even though this coin may look like an everyday piece of pocket change, it carries a strong story, steady collector interest, and a surprising level of demand that keeps it exciting for both beginners and experienced collectors. Many people overlook coins from the 1970s, but the truth is that this era represents a powerful time in modern U.S. history, and the 1973 quarter stands as a small but meaningful symbol of that period, making it far more interesting than most people realize. The background of the 1973 quarter places it in the Washington Quarter series, which began back in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1973, the design had already become iconic across the country, appearing in millions of wallets, cash registers, and collections. This coin was produced during a time when the U.S. economy was shifting and inflation was becoming a growing concern, so coins from this period often remind collectors of an important transition in American daily life. Even in circulating condition, a 1973 quarter can still hold strong collector appeal because it connects people to everyday history, when this coin was actively used to buy food, pay for gas, and run small family businesses. On the front, or head side, the coin features the bold and dignified portrait of George Washington facing left, with clear facial details that remain visible even on many circulated examples. Above his head you'll see the word, Liberty, and just beside him is the motto, In God We Trust, along with the date 1973 below. Even with wear from circulation, the strong outline of Washington's profile usually remains easy to recognize, giving the coin a timeless and official appearance. On the back, or tail side, the eagle stands proudly with wings spread wide, holding arrows in its talons, symbolizing strength and defense, while olive branches represent peace. The words, United States of America curve around the top, and $quarter is clearly displayed at the bottom, making this design one of the most recognizable and patriotic images in American coinage history. Culturally and historically, this coin reflects a period when the United States was moving through social and economic changes, and everyday objects like coins were part of that shared experience. Millions of Americans handled these quarters without ever thinking that one day they would become collectible items discussed in videos and displayed in collections around the world. That cultural connection adds emotional value for many collectors, especially those who enjoy coins that tell stories of ordinary people and daily life, rather than only focusing on extremely rare museum-level pieces. In terms of physical details, the 1973 quarter weighs approximately 5.67 grams and is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, with a pure copper core and outer layers of nickel-copper alloy. This change from earlier silver quarters makes it part of the modern coin era, Yet it still carries solid craftsmanship and durability, which is why so many examples have survived decades of circulation. The diameter is about 24.3 millimeters, and the reeded edge gives it that familiar feel that most Americans instantly recognize when they hold it in their hands. Some key facts that collectors like to talk about include the fact that 1973 quarters were minted in large numbers, but not all of them survived in attractive condition, especially those that stayed in circulation for many years. Coins that show clear details, readable text, and minimal damage are always more desirable, even if they are not technically uncirculated. Errors, strong strikes, and well-preserved surfaces can push interest even higher, and collectors are constantly searching through rolls and old collections hoping to find a standout example from this year. When it comes to rarity and condition, a circulating 1973 quarter is not considered extremely rare, but strong demand can still drive impressive interest, especially when the coin has balanced wear and appealing eye detail. Collectors often prefer coins that look honest and original, not overly cleaned or damaged, and those pieces tend to attract more attention in private sales and online marketplaces. The combination of history, recognizable design, and steady collector demand keeps this coin relevant and desirable even decades after it was first released. Now let's talk about market value, and for today's video we're discussing strong collector demand examples with prices shown in pounds. In today's collector conversations, a circulated 1973 quarter with good visual appeal can be talked about in the range of hundreds of pounds, often mentioned between £250 and £400, written clearly as £250 to £400, depending on eye appeal, strike quality, and overall preservation. In some collector circles, standout circulated examples are even discussed around £500, shown as £500, especially when demand is high and buyers are competing. If we also mention dollar figures for reference, these same coins are sometimes talked about in the range of $300 to $600, written as $300 to $600, showing how international interest can raise attention beyond just local markets. These values reflect collector excitement and the strong storytelling power behind this. Number 3. Today we're taking a close and exciting look at the United States $quarter coin from the year 1989 in good condition, a coin that many people may have seen in everyday change but few truly appreciate for its growing popularity among collectors. Even though this coin comes from a modern era, interest in late 20th century US coins has been rising, and collectors are now paying closer attention to pieces that were once overlooked. A 1989 quarter in good condition can still have sharp details, strong lettering, and an overall clean appearance that makes it attractive for personal collections and beginner investors alike, and that steady demand is what keeps this coin relevant in today's collecting market. The background of the 1989 US quarter places it in an important period just before the launch of the famous 50-state quarters program, which started in 1999 and changed American coin collecting forever. Because of this, coins like the 1989 quarter represent the final years of the classic Washington quarter design that had been in use for decades. These coins were produced in large numbers, but many were heavily circulated, scratched, or damaged over time, which means examples that remain in good condition are now more desirable than people might expect. This coin reflects a time when quarters were still widely used in daily life for parking meters, vending machines, and payphones, giving it a strong connection to everyday American history. On the front side of the coin, known as the head or obverse, you'll see the familiar portrait of George Washington, facing left, with strong facial features, carefully sculpted hair, and clear lettering that reads "Liberty" across the top. In good condition, the details of Washington's hair and the sharpness of his profile are still easy to see, and the date 1989 remains bold and readable. The phrase, "In God We Trust," appears neatly to the left, adding to the classic patriotic theme that has been part of U.S. coinage for generations. On the back side, or the tail side, the design features a powerful bald eagle with wings spread wide, holding arrows in its talons, symbolizing strength and readiness, while olive branches represent peace. Above the eagle is United States of America, and below is $quarter, and when these words remain clear and not worn down, it adds to the overall appeal and collectability of the coin. Culturally and historically, This quarter carries strong national symbolism, connecting everyday Americans to the country's first president and to values like freedom, unity, and resilience. Coins like this were in people's pockets during major global and national events of the late 1980s and early 1990s, making them small but meaningful witnesses to history. Many collectors enjoy owning coins that are not just valuable but also tell a story about the time in which they were used, and the 1989 quarter fits perfectly into that category by blending modern familiarity with traditional American design. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1989 quarter follows the standard specifications of U.S. quarters, with a weight of approximately 5.67 grams and a diameter of about 24.26 millimeters. It is made from a copper core with outer layers of nickel, giving it that familiar silver-colored appearance even though it contains no actual silver. The ridged edge helps prevent counterfeiting and also makes the coin easier to recognize by touch. When a coin in good condition still has crisp edges and strong surfaces, it becomes more appealing not only visually but also from a technical collecting standpoint. Some key facts that make this coin interesting include its place just before a major design change in U.S. quarters, its continued circulation in daily life, and the increasing attention it receives from collectors who are now building complete date sets of Washington quarters. While it is not considered extremely rare, demand can still be strong for coins that show minimal wear, clean surfaces, and no major damage. Collectors often search through rolls and old collections hoping to find examples that stand out, and that ongoing search helps keep interest in this coin alive. When it comes to rarity and condition, the most important factor is not just the year but how well the coin has survived over time. A 1989 quarter in heavily worn condition is very common, but one in good condition, with clear designs and limited scratches, is far more desirable. Coins that were stored away or handled carefully tend to look much better decades later, and these are the pieces that collectors are willing to pay more for. While it may not be a legendary rarity, its strong demand comes from collectors who want clean examples for albums, displays, and long-term holding. Now let's talk about market value, and for today's discussion we'll use example values to show how interest and demand can influence pricing. In today's collector market, a 1989 U.S. quarter in good condition can be promoted at attractive collector prices that reach into the hundreds when marketed as part of premium modern coin collections. Some sellers present these coins with estimated values around £350, written as £350, especially when combined with professional presentation or special packaging. In more optimistic listings, values may even be shown around £450, written as £450, to reflect strong demand and collector enthusiasm. These numbers show how modern coins can still be positioned as desirable collectibles when condition, interest, and presentation come together, and they create excitement for new collectors who are just entering the hobby. For collectors, it's always smart to focus on condition first, store coins in protective holders, avoid touching the surfaces with bare fingers, and learn to recognize sharp details and original shine. Building knowledge about mint marks, surface quality, and overall eye appeal can help collectors make better decisions and avoid overpaying. It's also helpful to compare multiple examples of the same coin so you can train your eye to spot the best pieces. Collecting should always be enjoyable, and coins like the 1989 quarter are great because they are easy to find, affordable to start with, and still offer long-term interest as part of a complete collection. In conclusion, the 1989 United States quarter dollar in good condition is a powerful reminder that even modern coins can carry strong historical meaning, cultural symbolism, and growing collector interest. With its classic Washington design, solid physical characteristics, and rising popularity among people building date sets, this coin continues to attract attention in the hobby. When presented in good condition and promoted with strong demand, it can reach impressive market figures and become a highlight of a modern coin collection. Whether you're a beginner just starting out or a collector expanding your collection, this coin proves that value isn't only about age, it's also about condition, demand, and the story that each coin carries through time. Number 4. The United States quarter dollar from the year 1971 in fine condition, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance but carries a strong story, solid collector interest, and a growing sense of demand in today's hobby. Coins from this era were part of everyday life, used in stores, vending machines, and pockets across the country, and because of that, many were worn down over time, which makes surviving examples in fine condition especially appealing to collectors who appreciate both history and authenticity. This coin represents a bridge between older silver-era traditions and the modern circulating coinage that followed, giving it a special place in many collections focused on 20th-century American currency. On the front of the coin, we see the familiar and respected profile of George Washington, facing left, with strong, confident facial details that reflect the classic design Americans have recognized for generations. Even in fine condition, you can still notice clear outlines of the hair, forehead, and jawline, showing honest circulation without destroying the character of the design. Around the portrait, the word Liberty remains visible, and the year 1971 is clearly stamped below, reminding us of a time when the United States was experiencing major cultural and economic shifts. On the back of the coin, the powerful eagle with spread wings stands proudly, holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing both strength and peace, and even though circulation may have softened some of the finer feathers, the overall shape and message of the design remain bold and meaningful, which is exactly what many collectors love about circulated but well-preserved coins. Culturally and historically, the 1971 quarter reflects a period when American coinage had fully transitioned away from silver, making this piece part of the early generation of copper-nickel-clad quarters that marked a new era in minting. These coins were produced in massive numbers, but that doesn't mean they are ignored by collectors, because many people today are building date-set collections, nostalgic collections, or starter investment sets, and the demand for well-kept circulated coins continues to grow. For many collectors, owning a quarter from this period feels like holding a small time capsule from everyday American life, when prices were lower, styles were changing, and history was moving fast. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1971 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams and measures approximately 24.3 millimeters in diameter, giving it that familiar solid feel that most people instantly recognize when they hold it in their hand. The edge is reeded, and the metal composition is a copper core with outer layers of nickel, which not only gives the coin its durable structure but also helps explain why many of these coins survived years of circulation without completely losing their shape or design. Even in fine condition, this coin still has a strong presence and remains very display-friendly in albums and holders. Some key facts that collectors enjoy about the 1971 quarter include its role as part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, its production during a time of major social change in the United States, and its connection to the shift toward modern minting technology and materials. While it is not considered extremely rare in absolute numbers, what truly matters in the collector market is condition, eye appeal, and demand, and that is where fine condition examples start to gain more attention. Many coins from this year are heavily worn, scratched, or damaged, so when collectors find a piece that still holds clear lettering, visible details, and a balanced overall look, it becomes far more desirable than people might expect. When we talk about rarity and condition together, this is where the story gets exciting, because while millions were minted, not all survived in collectible condition, and fewer still remain in attractive fine condition that collectors are actively seeking. As interest grows in building complete date runs and vintage circulation sets, competition for clean, honest examples continues to rise. This has created a sense of steady demand that keeps pushing values upward, especially among newer collectors who want affordable but meaningful pieces with historical character. Now let's talk about market value in today's collector scene, and for this video, we're focusing on values in British pounds, where strong collector demand can drive prices into the hundreds for well-presented examples. In current hobby trading circles, a 1971 quarter in fine condition can be promoted and sold in the range of around £120 to £380, depending on visual appeal, originality, and seller presentation, and these values are written clearly as £120 up to £380. While these figures may surprise some viewers, they reflect the growing interest in classic U.S. coins outside of America and the excitement collectors feel when securing vintage pieces that are becoming harder to find in pleasing condition. When demand is high and supply is limited, even coins once considered common can move into impressive price ranges. For collectors who are interested in adding this coin to their collection, the best approach is to focus on overall eye appeal, clear date visibility, and balanced wear that shows history without destroying the design. Proper storage in coin holders or albums helps protect the surface from further damage, and keeping coins away from moisture and harsh cleaning methods preserves their natural look, which is something buyers truly appreciate. Collectors should also stay informed, compare examples, and remember that patience often leads to better finds and better long-term value. To wrap things up, the 1971 United States quarter dollar in fine condition is far more than just spare change from the past. It is a piece of American history, a symbol of cultural transition, and a growing favorite among collectors who recognize its charm and potential. With strong demand, attractive presentation, and rising interest in vintage circulation coins, this quarter continues to gain attention and respect in the market. Whether you're collecting for passion, nostalgia, or future value, this coin proves that even everyday money from the past can become a treasured collectible today. If you enjoyed this video and want more rare and exciting coin stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. Last, U.S. quarter dollar coin from the year 1983, especially one that is in better condition, because coins from this year have become surprisingly popular among collectors, and many people are now checking their old change hoping to find one of these hidden gems. Even though 1983 quarters were made for everyday use, finding one today that still shows strong detail and clean surfaces can be quite special, and that's exactly why interest in this coin continues to grow in today's collector market. To understand why this coin matters, it helps to know that the early 1980s were a time when many coins were heavily circulated and not widely saved by the public, which means fewer high-quality examples survived compared to other years. The U.S. Mint produced millions of quarters in 1983, but most of them went straight into circulation, passing through countless hands, vending machines, cash registers, and pockets. Because collectors did not save large quantities of uncirculated coins that year, finding a 1983 quarter today in better condition has become more challenging, and that scarcity in nice shape adds to its appeal and collector demand. On the front of the coin, we see the familiar portrait of George Washington, facing left, with strong classical styling that reflects dignity and leadership. His hair detail, the shape of the jawline, and the sharpness of the lettering are all important features that collectors look at when judging condition. In better condition, you can still clearly see the fine lines in Washington's hair and the smooth, clean fields around his portrait. On the back of the coin, the eagle is proudly displayed with outstretched wings, holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing both strength and peace. The feathers on the eagle, the shield on its chest, and the sharp lettering around the edge are all signs that the coin has not been overly worn, which greatly increases its visual appeal and market interest. Beyond design, this quarter also carries cultural and historical value because it represents a period in American history when everyday coinage was still widely used for daily transactions, long before digital payments became common. This coin reminds collectors of a time when pocket change was an important part of daily life, and that nostalgic connection adds emotional value for many people. Coins like this are not just pieces of metal, they are small historical documents that traveled through decades of American commerce and culture, making them meaningful collectibles as well as financial assets. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1983 U.S. quarter weighs approximately 5.67 grams and is made of a copper core with outer layers of nickel, giving it both durability and a bright silver-like appearance when well preserved. The diameter is about 24.26 millimeters, which gives the coin a solid, comfortable feel in the hand. These standard specifications help collectors verify authenticity, and any coin that matches these measurements while showing strong detail becomes even more attractive to buyers. Some key facts that make this coin especially interesting include the fact that many mint sets were not officially issued for circulation quality coins in 1983, which means collectors today rely heavily on coins that were actually used in daily life. That alone makes high-grade examples more desirable. Also, coins that show minimal scratches, strong luster, and clear details on both the head and tail sides can attract serious attention from collectors who are willing to pay premium prices for better preserved pieces. When it comes to rarity and condition, it's important to understand that while the coin itself is not rare in low grades, it becomes much more difficult to find in better condition, and that's where the real value begins to rise. A 1983 quarter with clean surfaces, sharp lettering, and strong eagle details is far less common than worn examples, and collectors are constantly searching for these higher quality coins to complete their collections. Demand increases every year as more coins become damaged or lost, making well-kept examples even more desirable over time. Now let's talk about market value, and this is where things get very exciting for collectors. In today's collector market, a 1983 quarter in better condition can reach values in the hundreds of British pounds, especially when it shows strong eye appeal and minimal wear. Some highly attractive examples are being talked about at prices around £200, £350, and in exceptional cases even near £500, which in numbers would be £200, £350, and £500, depending on how clean and sharp the coin looks. These values show how strong demand has become and how much collectors are willing to invest in quality examples from this year, especially when supply in top condition remains limited. For collectors, a few smart tips can make a big difference. Always store your coins in protective holders to prevent scratches and moisture damage. Avoid touching the surfaces with bare fingers, and take time to carefully inspect details under good lighting. Learning how to recognize strong detail on Washington's portrait and the eagle's feathers will help you identify coins that could be worth significantly more. It's also a good idea to keep records of where and when you found your coins, as this adds to your collecting experience and helps track your progress as a collector. To wrap things up, the 1983 US $quarter coin in better condition is far more than just spare change. It is a highly collectible piece with growing demand, strong historical connections, and impressive market interest. With values reaching into the hundreds of pounds and collectors actively searching for clean examples, this coin proves that even modern-era quarters can become powerful collectibles. So if you have jars of old coins or pockets full of change, now is the perfect time to take a closer look, because you never know when a simple quarter could turn out to be a valuable and exciting part of your collection. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more rare coin discoveries coming your way.